Committee went along.
Okay, I guess
One of the
nobody.
Boy Scout leaders going
See,
on
we
there.
changed-
did
we changed
Scout
seats.
project
5,
for me
6.
20
I'm
years
seven.
ago.
There's 7 people, we're good.
Okay, we're 2 minutes over 7, we're gonna get started.
Okay.
Yeah. And,
But I can't even count.
so I'll bring the meeting to order. And hope you all had happy Thanksgiving holidays and you're back in town and Ken's back in town and so everybody's okay and so on. So, happy December.
Doesn't seem like it.
No, it
That's
doesn't.
crazy, gosh.
Crazy. Let's take a look at the November 15th minutes. And can I have a motion for the approval?
I don't have them, but I'll make a motion to approve.
I want you to, yeah, let us
I didn't print mine out.
circulate them around for a minute. For any additions or corrections?
Are you finished?
Not everyone looks great.
Okay.
Okay. Can I have a motion?
I'll move.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes will stand approved as written. And tonight, what we're going to do is, we sent off all the questions. This is 6 pages of things that we had either marked we needed more information about, or that we wanted to get Jeff Forbes' opinion about them. And because I was printing these at my house and didn't want to use up all of my color, I printed these. I'll show you what went to Jeff Forbes in Technicolor. We sent one like this. This is about 3 pages, and Trish's notes were in blue and mine are in green. And he
What's
said,
your interest going?
well, and so he said that he would review them.
But what color am I?
And you're blue.
I'm blue, I just want to know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, just for this.
You're not locked into that.
I'm not planning.
Just
good idea,
if I
though.
ever actually see those, I
Oh,
want to
okay.
know what color I need.
I think you sent them to me in blue and I added the green.
And then you added green,
Yeah.
okay.
And I thought I sent them back to you, but anyway, I sent them to him. And so what I want to do tonight is have you look at those for a few minutes, just read through them quickly, and then have us go down and talk through them.
You've obviously read these through already.
I read it through and then I had to ask Yvonne on two of them that he had said, well, Yvonne would be the one to, you know, so I talked to her about those, so, yeah.
When we talked about Greenbelt, you noticed the Greenbelt lot for sale up here on the corner?
No, I didn't notice it was for sale.
Yeah.
This
On the
now,
corner?
I mean, this.
Yeah, the Legion's land.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a for sale sign. I haven't gone to the website of the realtor yet.
Oh.
It's a commercial
Right here on
real
the
estate
corner?
company, yeah.
Where they used to park, overflow parking.
No,
no,
no, straight up this way,
Oh,
Corner of
to the,
Whitten and Sharon.
Whitten and Sharon.
Oh, Whitten and Sharon over
the,
there.
the wooded area.
Oh, boy. Oh, no.
But the residence is not for sale.
No, it's just that land there. Now, the residence is zoned residential. but
Yeah,
the
right.
woods is basically Greenbelt,
Mhm.
which I'm not sure what they're thinking, but
There's not much green belt up in that area, though.
it's about an acre, it says.
Not much. It's kind of thin up there.
Oh, you mean over on the corner, like on my
On the,
side?
on
of
this
the
side.
Street, yes,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, yeah. I did see that.
The sign says an acre. I don't know if that's that much or not.
That would go clear up to the parking lot.
Yeah, well, it comes, yeah, it would run to the edge of the parking lot and near where the bell tower is.
Yeah,
That strip of land there.
yeah, and then.
And
put it for
they're saying
sale?
it's zoned
The Legion.
commercial, but I don't think it is.
No, it's on Greenbelt.
This Greenbelt.
And they had a sign up there once that said zoned commercial. And my wife went to Yvonne to question why this commercial didn't feel it was commercial, and Mom said, so it's not. Greenbelt, but the question is, other than that, it's wasn't commercial, so. If it gets sold, I can smell a lawsuit coming.
Mhm.
What, did the village put it up for sale?
No, the Legion,
The Legion did.
we
Legion.
never, you know,
That's
we
what I
tried
thought.
to get
Yeah, we
it
tried
a
to
number
get
of
it.
times
Yeah.
from the Legion
Yeah.
with various transactions, and
Mhm.
they never did follow through.
I wonder if anybody's talked to them.
Well, it's, you know, you're
Vaughn
gonna have to bid
Mayer.
against somebody else now.
Well, if it isn't theirs to sell,
No, it's theirs.
it's theirs,
Yeah.
but if they're confined by the ruling of it being Greenbelt.
But my concern with the Greenbelt zoning ordinance, the way it is now, that, you know, it could always be challenged. And of course, it was challenged by Messiah Lutheran Church and the Baptist Church, and we lost that.
Mhm.
But there was some other technicalities
things,
involved
yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
And the Baptist church up there owns all the way to the corner on Sharon Road and Winton Road.
Mhm.
They have about almost 17 acres. I
They have a
think.
beautiful,
Yeah. And they own a lot in the back. I mean, you wouldn't
yeah.
believe how
Yeah.
much they
Oh,
own in the
yeah,
back.
we know, yeah.
And I think what the Presbyterian Church owns all the way up to Winton Woods, off of, what's the name of that street?
Oh,
Cromwell.
Baptist?
Cromwell.
Oh, Cromwell.
Yeah.
So I'm less worried about churches doing something.
Well, I know.
Big enough for a PUD though.
Okay, we're gonna get going here. What I'd like to do is, we're not gonna go into final decisions or anything, but if there's any of these that we can say, okay, that's enough of an answer for us, and we will not worry about that, it'll help us focus down on how many we have to really work on, to review. So, on this first one, A, Article 1, when he says, I don't have any issue with the current language, it just states that the village is free to annex other territory pursuant to state law, but before any village territory can be detached or annexed by another municipality, the question must go to the voters. And I think that's what we wanted to say.
I'm just thinking we don't want a long slate of grammatical
Right.
kinds of things.
Right.
That's just gonna confuse.
We will.
And this was just really questions.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if there was you know, if there was a problem with it,
Mhm.
if he doesn't see a problem, I
Yeah.
don't see why we should mess with it.
Before we get too far ahead, but for the purpose of my note taking on here, if we're going to, as an example on 1.01, where he answered a question, if we're comfortable with moving forward, do you want me to then check that okay and not for further discussion?
I'm good with
I
that.
would think so.
Okay,
Make it
just so I
easier.
can kind of
Yeah.
keep
You have to
clear
start
notes.
eliminating things.
Yeah,
Right,
right,
the
right.
attorney has said that it's okay, I don't know what else,
And
what we would change or how we would change it.
Well, and that's gonna help us put our energies where they need to be.
right, I just want to kind of be able to marry these things
Yeah.
together as we go
Yeah.
along in a way that everybody's
Yeah.
okay with.
Okay, I think that'd be good.
So we're all okay with that? Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
B, 102. Again, he says, I have no issue with the current language. Any problems with that?
I do, but I'll probably be overruled. But I think that there are some limited areas where the city charter does not overrule state law. And if we get hung up on it, then we end up paying for both sides. Now, it's not every case that happens.
Mhm.
In most cases, you're
But
okay.
it could happen.
It can happen, and it would be easier, I'd be more comfortable say we're permitted by law that way. You've got a catch-all in there to kind of caution anyone come, because, you know, we're sitting here now, we're not gonna be here 10 years from now or 5 years from now.
No.
So, I mean, you know, majority can rule on that, that's why I threw it out.
Mhm.
And it may never happen. But if it does, we end up paying for attorney fees on at least one side and possibly both sides.
Given we're not making final decisions, why don't we
Yeah.
just leave it in for right now?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I'll mark that as go back.
Yeah.
If everybody's not in 100% agreement, I'll just write go back. Okay.
So we revisit.
Okay,
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Okay. Okay, Article 2, Section 201. Number, terms, qualifications of council. Partisan advantage and disadvantages of partisan elections are best determined by citizens and elected officials. It is not a legal question. However, of the municipalities that I represent, Greenhills is the only one that still calls for partisan elections for council and mayor.
So it's probably out of date.
Well, we did have an election just on that issue, I think 2 years ago, pretty much, as far as changing the charter. And the,
Whether it was partisan or
yeah,
not.
yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm. It was one of the issues in there, whether it was partisan, and they wanted to knock out the partisan part of it. They wanted to knock out, I think the 25% for recall, but they also wanted to knock out the partisan portion of it. And the people already voted on it and voted to keep it the way it is.
Right. Right.
So,
Would you
we've been there and done that.
Well, I guess I'm wondering how much people understood it. You know, this is really a matter of the filing deadline for a candidate for council or mayor.
But more than that, when you talk about partisan or nonpartisan, you look at the ballot, it says Republican or Democrat. If it goes nonpartisan, you won't have that label on any ballot.
So you might have to think a little bit more before you vote.
Or find
Well,
out what they are.
Yeah.
Well, or it has independent too. I mean,
Yeah, independent,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it wouldn't have any designation on the ballot as to what party you belong to, if any. And there's good and bad about it. I think that generally speaking, if someone belongs to a given political party, at least they have a general idea what their philosophy is. Not 100%, but at least they got a starting point.
Well, that's what I meant about it being easier for the voter.
It is.
If I'm a Democrat, that's an identified Democrat, I don't need to look any further.
You can, but I mean, you have an idea where they're coming from.
I'm thinking if he says Greenhills is unique, being the only one that has the partisan ballot, why don't we suggest taking the one?
Why don't we look into that more? I mean, just to make sure we understand other ramifications from it.
Just remember what you're doing. You're taking it off any designation on the ballot of political affiliation, which is, good or bad. And,
I think it would probably be good for the nonpartisan, because, people might see it by their name if somebody has their mind made up on this or that.
But that's what an independent is.
Yeah.
but on the other hand, if
voted
you don't have
independent
something
before,
on
and
there,
they
you
usually
might
have a
be
chance.
figuring buying a pig in a poke too, so who knows?
And probably half the municipalities, or I don't know if it's even half, are nonpartisan. Still, a good many of them are partisan ballots. But some of the ones right around the Springdale Forest Park
Well,
are
we can
nonpartisan.
we can study it further, I mean, as far as get more information. on
You
that.
can, but it's already been voted on once and turned down.
Revisit.
Well, and
I've
that's
changed it
concerns
to
me, yeah.
revisit.
Yeah.
It's in pink now.
There were 3 issues on the ballot dealing with the charter the last time around.
Yeah, I remember
That's what I
that.
thought one of them
There
was.
were 3 separate issues,
Mhm.
and this was one of them.
So make note that we have voted on it.
Well, and I guess,
before.
and I think too, as we think about all these things, however we lump them together, if it's already been voted on, it could be, we could have 5 great things and this one thing causes people to vote down the
Everything.
whole thing.
Mhm.
So maybe as we look at all this, we'll have a big dry erase board.
I think
Well-
Jeff had mentioned that before, that some of the places where they did, they put all the recommendations for change of the charter, and they threw everything on the down ballot at once. And
All
there was always something in there
Like the
somebody doesn't
one
like,
thing, 'cause
so
I
they
don't
vote
like
against the
that,
whole
right.
thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, I think what we're to do is to really find what brings everything up to date and is best for the whole village, not whether it's spelled right or the right
Right.
title, or, you know, some grammar needs a comma or something, but we're to look at, what doesn't work anymore. Okay. On down there, they are concerned about the paragraph where it references November of 1989. Should this be cleaned up or left as part of the original charter?
Which one is that on?
It's right after this.
Oh, it's
Article
still in
two.
2.01. Oh, okay, I see
And he
it.
says, I believe the date should be left as is, and I think that just indicates the origins of the charter.
Can I just
A
put-
bad date is not going to invalidate the
I
charter.
can okay that then, that
Yeah.
part of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in there for a reason and it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's historically significant.
Okay.
Okay. 203, meetings of council and meetings of, meetings of council and of committees of council. 12 hours in advance of such meeting, are we in compliance with state law? The state law requires 24 hours notice. While there is no requirement that the village mirror the state law here, this may be a time where you want to do that for the sake of consistency.
Well, that's the reason I brought it up, because I knew there was a shorter time frame. 12 hours was a short fuse,
Revisit?
and I knew state law was different. But
Oh.
I'd rather have Jeff say that rather than me.
And with a 24-hour notice.
But what if it's something that you know, you can't get them 24-hour notice?
But you've got
that you-
emergency procedures for that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
And I thought we were talking about taking out the emergency.
No,
No,
that'll
no.
never be
I
taken
never
out.
knew we take it out. Okay, good.
But we've used this 12 hours, like when we had the dry hurricane.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes like that, we've had to do really fast, you know, turnaround on some things.
The library.
Yeah,
So,
that was
For-
another
for-
thing.
For the normal course, 12 hours strikes me as remarkably short.
Yeah.
Things happen, so you know, I
Right.
don't know.
For something that couldn't even take one day, I know it, but I'm right, emergencies do happen.
I think I agree with Jeff on this, just
Mhm.
want to make it consistent with state law.
Mhm. Okay, let's,
How you want me to work it? Revisit?
no.
Change it? I don't have another marker.
Well, no, I'm thinking, right now, we'll maybe circle that state law requires 24-hour notice and put okay beside that, and we'll come back to that as, we pretty well agreed that that would be okay.
I recall there are other procedures available if you need to have an emergency.
That it's really, yeah.
Yeah,
So we'll,
as long as there's something set up that,
doesn't cripple anything.
right, that you could have an official meeting in a
Yeah.
short period of time.
Section 205, powers of council related to current concerns regarding rezoning of certain areas, some to be put within the city center, one to change to be more specific in defining the golf course, such as, you know, how many acres, the 17.2 acres.
Oh.
Also regarding the Greenbelt district, add wording that restricts any change other than to improve or continue to restrict any new development on Greenbelt area. And Jeff says, I see no harm in defining the golf course more specifically. So that would be putting in the size and details and so on. However, any change to the ability to amend the zoning of the Greenbelt district may be perceived as an attempt to allow more development that is currently than is currently permitted. If the intention is to further limit the development opportunity of Greenbelt district, you should be very specific.
And that might be something worth looking at fairly quickly, because we do have the issue up there with the American Legion now, trying to sell some property.
But is that zoning commission as opposed to the charter?
The charter controls the zoning commission, 100%. When you have a charter, it's like having a constitution. So when there's a question between the zoning commission and an ordinance and a charter, the charter rules. That's why you have your charter.
The zoning commission goes back to the charter.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's something we might want to seriously look at, or at least give the nudge to the council to look at, because there is some rather broad language in the Greenbelt designation zoning, more broad than I think the average person realizes. and we may want to tighten that up. And again, it's not our job specifically to tighten up the zoning here, but I think we can put certain restrictions on the green belt, which we already have some with the golf course. And as I indicated, we have about 17 acres the city owns here, including this where we are now, Malloy's, and the golf course. And right now, technically, you could survey out where the golf course is, and that leaves you, I'm guessing, maybe 5 to 7 acres. The city could sell and develop and put anything they want there. They're not gonna sell the city building, but they get the building next door. They have the parking lot behind us and up there and all the way over to the golf course and some area down on the other side. So, yeah, I would feel that I would be more comfortable with not only the golf course being protected by the charter, but this area, a substantial portion of what the city owns being protected by the charter. Because right now, we're in the center of the city, and a good part of what the center of the city is owned by the city. I don't know who's gonna be here 10 years from now. It only takes 4 members of council to sell a piece of property.
I don't disagree with you.
Okay, well, this one needs further work.